Hi everybody. How's it going? It's been a little bit, I know, and I guess I apologize. I don't know. I don't know if I'm sorry for not doing one of these. I've just been busy. It's the holidays. A little extra work, a little extra stuff going on. And family stuff. My kids all dance and my wife dances and teaches dance, so we had dance recitals. And so it's been busy. And so I'm not going to say that I'm sorry I wasn't here, because I'm not, because I'm sorry. I'm not sorry that I was hanging out, spending time with my family and doing the things I needed to do. However, I will say that I am sorry you didn't get to see a video for the last little bit, because that would have been fun, right? All right, so what I'm doing right now is this is going to be, I'm going to make a dungeon map. I'm Uncle Dungeon Master, by the way, Michael. Dungeon Master for The Hired Swords. Podcast available everywhere you listen to podcasts. I am like I said, a DM there, and I like to make maps for my games that don't take me an eternity, and they're good enough. You'll see on this video thumbnails I put pretty good and pretty good, pretty quick and pretty good, or something like that. I just need a pretty good map. I don't need it to be freaking, masterpiece, right? Like, I get it. Some people are that way. They're masterpiece people. I'm just not. And so I'm more of a, hey, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to make something that will be fun for my players to have a battle in. And then a lot of times it's just gone. I'm not going to do anything else with it. So that's the issue there. Now for my background, I want this to look like stone floor. We'll do like this kind of broken up stone here. You're not going to see it yet, but you'll see when you see it in a minute. Softness is off. That's what I wanted. Just going to make this the whole background, which we'll see in a minute. We're going to uncover the stone. So we're making a new dungeon. I don't usually make dungeons like this anymore that I use in my games. And the reason is I do not like I play mostly on virtual tabletop. I do not like taking my players through a dungeon in a virtual tabletop. That's kind of obnoxious to me for whatever reason. I just don't like taking them through and like, oh, look, you move 30 feet each, blah, 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 and using the dynamic lighting and all that. All that stuff's very cool, but man, it sure does make a lot of prep necessary, and it really turns into more issues in game. So what I usually do is I theater of the mind, walking through tunnels and traps and things like that. And then I do a map for rooms where they may encounter something. So yeah, that's just kind of how I do it. Okay, so I do not like how that stone turned out there, but what I'm going to do here though is I'm going to start our room off with a nice kind of rectangular room. My inspiration for this is an old dilapidated temple. Oh, what an original concept for a dungeon, an old dilapidated temple. And what I'm doing is I have created a foreground that is what I want to be my non-dungeon space. So it's that black cloudiness, and I may make it darker later, I don't care. And then the background I have made floor, right? So what this creates is this ability for me to just remove the foreground where I want rooms to be, and then we've got this automatic shadow on the floor here. And what I can do too is if I go to advanced settings, I can use this shadow, this inner shadow, and I'm going to turn it to black instead of white. Is there a glow on or something? What is this? Maybe it's the outer shadow that I'm seeing. Nope, the inner. Oh, it was the outer. Okay, yeah. So I want that outer shadow, but I want it to be dark, not light. So I'm imagining, yeah. So see, the shadow now exists. Everywhere I put space, the shadow will be. So there you go. And I'm going to go in and fix the floor later. That's too large of a space there. And then I'm going to add my grid because I want to be able to see, So I want these like a portion of this to be the tiny space there. So I'll show you how to do that in a minute. So anyway, all right, we're going to continue to remove, and I use this, the grid option to remove these because this is like a temple. If this was like a cavern, I would use this here and make it look a little more natural. But this is going to be like an entryway. And so these are cool. You can make these dungeons, you know, to do all kinds of different stuff for your players. And maybe you do like this, or your players like to have a full-on, full-size dungeon available to them to explore, like as they go, dragging their player tokens around on the virtual tabletop. Maybe they like that. My players haven't expressed necessarily that they like that or don't like that. But I personally, I prefer to, I'm creating like this kind of worship space that comes down to a platform we'll put in right down here. But anyway, and so I kind of prefer to just worry about the room as far as a map goes, right? But some people like to do it the other way. You can zoom in and out just with your mouse wheel. If you hold spacebar and you click, you can move around once you're zoomed in. I've just lowered this down to 1, so I get 1 square, so I can make some of these tunnels not be huge. You know, they're smaller tunnels, and they're gonna go this way. This one's gonna be bigger. This is gonna go to somewhere special. I have no idea. Like, I have no laid out dungeon. I'm laying out the dungeon right now as I make it. So I'm not telling you like, okay, so here's my overall plan. And I start with a map. My method is start with a map, go from there, create what you want, you know, from there, and then start to populate the map once it's made, so that creates your whole potential for combat. There's columns here. Look, I'm going to add that back. So instead of subtract, I'm going to go to add. I want to put, oh goodness, I want the same settings though. Whoop, all the way to 1. And I want to add, boop, there's a column there and a column there. So this room is kind of like, I don't know what it's in there. We'll decide that later. And then over here you have a couple of rooms. So maybe this is like where the priests or whatever would have their rooms they sleep in. Oh, I'm still on add. Look at that. See, I'm still on add. So then I can just make these little 15 by 15 rooms for sleeping spaces. My bedroom's like 12 by 14 or something, so it's an average size room. Maybe a little big for something like this, but hey, whatever. And so yeah, I can, you know, create this. This is kind of how this goes in here. And then over here, we're gonna have an entryway to go that way, go down here, and then it's gonna come out to there. And this will do the same thing, another way to get around to here. We'll go like this. So there's a lot of times you have multiple ways to get to the same space, and this is gonna be like that. And this is kind of like a pass through to get to multiple areas, right? And maybe like the worshipers, typical worshipers would come in through here, but then those that work here have ways to get around and do the other things they do. And maybe this is an evil temple that they worship something horrible and they sacrifice, or maybe it's just a normal temple. They worship gods that would be considered good or gods of light, and so there's nothing to be, you know, worried about there. I don't know, whatever you want. But this is gonna go all the way back to there. Because so you can, the priests or whoever can come out of their spaces where they sleep here, and they can go around and do whatever it is that they do there. So here, this is my dungeon currently. Maybe that's it. It's one big building, kind of. So, or maybe it's carved into a mountain or a hill, or I don't know. It's whatever I want it to be, depending on the game that I'm playing. And this isn't really for any particular game that I'm doing, because I do my main campaign is a podcast that is like currently going, and so if I do too much, it's spoilery for my players if they watch these, or any listeners who watch this. So I'm gonna make just some little areas that are like, this is a little storage area. I like to make these little spaces like this, just kind of in these. There's a little space here that I don't think in a building would be necessarily wasted. So what would this be? Well, this could be another storage area like that, and there's a way to get in there too. And then this would just let you get into that space there. So there's just multiple ways to get everywhere. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, so we have now our main kind of dungeon built. I'm going to fix that floor now. And there's so much space. I'm not using it. I'm just showing you kind of what I do to make something quick, right? So there's so much. So I'm gonna take the same floor, and I'm gonna take the size here, not that size actually, this size. So under advanced settings, this size is at 100. When you start to do this, I love that it does this. It shows you what it's going to look like on the map. So look, that looks more like, according to my grid and everything, a more reasonable size for the cracked wall or cracked up floor to be. See, that looks more like it makes more sense than these giant ones, right? So that's what I'm going to redo. So that's just the background that's going to be that, again, because I carved the foreground away and let the background be the floor. So there you go. So that's pretty sick. Now, apologize for a little interruption. I don't know how much I was able to edit that, but my wife got home from a trip to the store and I hadn't texted her to let her know I was recording. It's on me. It's on me, everybody. Whoops. It's on me. Let's put that at 30, see what that looks like. So you could do walls. I mean, if you want, put some walls on there. There you go. Actually, I'd probably put them over there like that. Zoom in. If you can't find the little corners to grab and pull, grab and resize, then you just do that. There you go. So if you want to do walls, sometimes I don't do that because honestly, man, like I said, I'm all about doing it quick. This is good for me. And what I do now is I create the theme of the dungeon and I make it what I want it to be. So this is a temple to, I don't know, this looks like a strawberry. So this is a temple to the strawberry god. I don't know why that looks like a strawberry to me, but it does. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with, and it's kind of dilapidated and worn, so I don't really want stairs, but let's put some like crumbly bits, stone stuff here and there. We'll put some obvious like altar type worship things around, and we'll just get that done real quick here. Let me see what all I got. One of these days, I'm going to be smart. And I'm going to, there's broken stone, light. There you go. I'm going to be smart and I'm going to like look ahead on this and like maybe make a practice map or something. And that's crazy. I'm never going to do that. I just prefer to do these off the cuff because I kind of get an opportunity. I'm like, oh, I can do this now if I want. I have time, so I'll do it. And that's the day before Christmas Eve. I don't have to work. I just spent 3 hours working on a website for a client that is extra work, right? The side hustle, as they say. And now I just want to do something that I want to do, not something I need to do. So that's what I'm doing. Our house is fairly clean. Are there dead people here? Maybe there's some skeletons in this room here. Why? Why is there a skeleton there? I don't know. There's a story you could tell. It's little things, and that's why I always start with a map, because man, the maps create the story. This is where the sarcophagi will be. There's no reason for this sarcophagi to be 10 feet long, right? Like, people are not that big. So this is 5 foot or so. Maybe a little bigger because people are, around 6 foot or under. So there's that sarcophagi. We'll get this one. I don't like the one with jewels. These aren't fancy people. These are just basically, we'll put another one. They can be identical because, they were priests or whatever. They were buried in exactly the same way. Hold shift, move up. There you go. Put one here. I just was playing Diablo, actually, recently. That's what this makes me think of. You come across a lot of these sarcophagi that you can bust open and then get some goodies out of. So there you go. That's where they bury, I don't know, old priests or whatever. Let's get this sanctuary chapel part made real quick, and then we will probably wrap it up because I don't necessarily feel like you have to see me do this whole thing. So that's a water shrine, some spiky shrines. There's a shrine there that I think I might like. That's too small though. Wait, this is against the wall. Oh, sick. That's what I want right there. I'm going to rotate it a little bit. You can see it there as I drag this. Wanted to go against the wall the other way. 180. I should have just typed in 180. I knew that's what it wanted. 180. Perfect. Oh, not perfect. 180. There it is. And then I want it bigger. I want it to cover 10 feet. So I'm going to double the size here to 60, because these are about 30. The squares are. So there you go. That shrine is set right up against that wall. Everybody worships there. Maybe some rugs and stuff to worship. I'm getting some prison architect vibes here. Ooh, that's a cool idea. A tome thing. Do I have a stone one? Yeah, we're putting it in front of this. We're going to make it smaller, though, because who would read a 10-foot, large, a 10-foot sized book? Not me. Actually, I think it looks like it goes kind of that way. Maybe. Nope, that way. You read towards the shrine. So let's say, like, to worship this in this scenario, you read off the incantations to the shrine or whatever, and there you go. What else? Rugs for sitting or kneeling. Yeah, rugs for sitting and or kneeling. Some more sarcophagi. Come on, I gotta have rugs. Some sort of furniture and rugs. See, these are things I put in. Oh, they have holiday stuff. That's fun. Let's see. Rug. Do I have any rugs? Come on, baby. Come on, baby. I don't see anything. Darn. Am I blind? Gothic horror. That's cool. I'm just gonna search rug. Nice rugs. Simple rugs. Do I have red ones? Actually, I can make it whatever color I want. So we're gonna do this. No, we're gonna do this one. We're gonna make it red. I did this in the marketplace thing. Remember, I messed with the colors. Where is that now? I don't see it on here. Shadow, da da da. Oh, filters, right there. Hue. So let's go a reddish color. There you go. And we're going to saturate that more, and we're going to lower the brightness, make it like a dark red. Yeah, that's what I wanted. Okay, and so we've got these large. They're very large. What about this one? That's also very large. Let's go down to 15. We're talking about people on their knees, right? So we're gonna go one here, one here, 3, 4, and then check this out. I'm gonna highlight all these. I'm gonna Command C. I'm on a Mac, and then I'm gonna Command V and paste them, baby. Copy paste. Love it. I'm gonna do it one more time. So you can get 4 rows of worshipers into this place. Yeah, like that. And then what would be back here? There'd be some statues and some stuff like that, maybe. So let's do that. Let's go clear our rugs out. I'm gonna have to fix that, the grid being on top. It's driving me crazy. I don't like that. Not at all. This is pillars. Let's do that sort of thing. So these are currently very small. We were at about 30, right? Whenever we liked the middle of the, yep. So we're gonna put these pillars, we'll put 1 here, we'll skip 2, put it there, skip 2, put it there, skip 2, put it there. And then we're gonna mirror that on this side with, what is it, 2 between, yep. So this is gonna be kind of symmetrical, right? Because it's architecture. So I don't always do symmetrical stuff, but this architecture should be. And then let's get, this is the last thing we're gonna do is this temple area, because I don't, I don't wanna spend too long, because this is something I'd probably come back to a few times, here and there. I wouldn't do it all at once just because of the amount of time it takes. Let's put a fountain thing in the middle, a big one. Let's make this large. I'm sorry if you hear my children in the next room. There we go. This thing will be right here in the middle. Well, it's pretty evenly spaced. There you go. Then we zoom out. So we got some stuff happening here, right? So your players could fight some crazy undead thing in here, or some monster, or some cultists could come out of the hallways and start firing at them. And man, you can add walls, you can do all kinds of different stuff, but it's so much easier now to build a dungeon because you've got these top-down wall options. You've got the option to create dungeon walls instead of and stone walls, and you could do the primitive stone, like different stuff. Instead of before we were just making it work with you know, the city walls and stuff, and it was weird, the angle and everything. It was more isometric. This is that top-down feel, so you can get that going, and it works pretty well. So yeah, do more, you know, make more maps. Use Inkarnate. I very much like it, and I think it's very useful and helpful, and this is probably a dungeon I'll never do more with. It's just, here it is for now. But what if the skeleton makes a lot more sense in here, where the sarcophagi are? So there you go. And oh, last thing I was gonna do the grid, and I wanted to make the grid the last layer. This is something I see a lot. I say it a lot too when I make these videos. I see a lot that the grid being on top of the artwork, and I just like it so much better when it's down below the artwork. It looks a lot better. I can also mess with the color and shadow, and I can turn the shadow off completely, and then I can change the color of it to be similar to what we've got on this area here, the non-dungeon area, and make it blend in a little better. There we go. I had it right there. Oh, nope, that's not it. That's a little better. And it's still going to show up in some places, but look at that. It's still there for reference, but it's definitely not as bold on the non-map part of the image. And then, in case you're curious and want to do this, I do this sometimes. This is a 40 by 40. If you create a game, if you have a game in Roll20 and you want to drop this map in there and you want the grid to line up, you just create the map at 40 by 40, and then you pull this thing up to the size it needs to be, and it should work out pretty well. You may have to do some other tricks. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there talking about how to line that stuff up. But yeah, so it works out pretty good for me usually. It was a while learning how to do it properly, but it turns out if you make your map and keep track of the number of squares you put vertically and horizontally, it makes it a lot easier. So anyway, that's going to be the end. I built another dungeon. There you go. The walls are great if you want to use those. I didn't want to make you watch me do that. Although last time I made a dungeon, I was like, of course we want to watch you do that. But I'm not going to sit and do that right now. Maybe later we'll do a full dungeon build. We'll see. I'll finish this out maybe for a separate video when I have time. But somebody asked me in comments to do some more dungeon building now that Inkarnate has updated, and so here it is. Thanks very much for watching, and if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments or any suggestions for videos. I think I'm probably going to do some dungeon room videos moving forward, because that's how I run dungeons in my games now, like I mentioned. So hopefully that will be something we do. I'm going to call this YouTube Temple Dungeon. Hopefully that'll be something we do pretty soon, but anyway, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you later. Have a merry holiday if you're watching within the couple days that I recorded this. Bye.